Hello everyone, myself Deepa Singh, working as assistant professor in Suresh Gyan, Vihar University in Pharmacy Department, SGVU-Jaipur. So today we discuss about tablet. In tablet, we should cover the compression of tablet, different compression method and which compression equipment used for this compression process and the processing problem. Some problems that maybe affect the formulation of your tablet or may be responsible to degrade or maybe reduce the shelf life of the tablet. For these reasons, you should overcome these problems, and there are certain remedies to overcome these problems. First, before overcoming this problem, you should know about all these problems, why this problem is occur, and how you overcome this problem. And in previous lecture, we already discussed about the brief introduction or description about the tablet, including introduction part and different excipient used for the manufacturing of a tablet and different ingredient. Which example of particular excipient is suitable and why this excipient is important, and how you use alternative excipient for that particular tablet. All we discussed already in previous lecture, and different granulation technique. Means after granulation, you should compress your tablet, and before compressing the tablet, you should know about how to formulate granules. So in previous lecture, we already discussed the different granulation technique in this dry granulation, wet granulation, and direct compression. And after selecting this particular granulation technique, you should compress your tablet with the help of the tablet machine and with the help of dies and benches. So before starting this topic, we should know about this basic object. In basic objects or a learning object, there is first in brief introduction or processing problem of the tablet. Means what are the problem or what are the processing problem, and why this problem is occur. If this problem is occur with the particular tablet, then how it affect that tablet or how it alter the property of the tablet. So in this lecture, you know all the problem of the tablet or processing problem, and why this problem is occurring, and how you overcome, or there are certain remedies for that particular tablet, and different processing problems with the remedy and compression force or compression process of the tablet. According to this compression force or selection of this compression process, you should assure that your tablet is good quality, you should have a good hardness. All this about this object of this topic, and in this topic, first you know about tablet procedure. In this filling, compression, and ejection, we already discussed that how you formulate your tablet or how you formulate your granules, and compression step is coming. And before this compression, there's a filling is required. Filling of granules or filling of ingredient or excipient for dyes and punches or from hopper. And after this filling process, there will be compression is possible, or maybe add certain excipients before compression to reduce the friction between the particle or maybe friction between dyes and punches. And then ejection. Ejection is the last step where tablets is completely formed and eject from that particular machine. And in this tablet compression machine, first you use our first step of this compression machine is that hopper for holding and fitting granulation to be compressed. Hopper is a part of a tablet machine where you put your granules or your excipient, or with the help of this hopper, your granules are posed in your tablet machine and between the dies and punches. And when your granules are between the dies and punches, particular force is applied between these dies and punches, and tablet get compressed and eject out by ejecting point. And in compression machine or compression process, first hopper for holding and fitting the granulation to be compressed to feed or refill your hopper according to required label. And after that, these feeding granules are compressed or passed through different dies and punches. And dies and the defined size shape of the tablet. They may be dies are different shape or different size according to required type of tablet. So before compressing or before finalizing the tablet, you should know about which dies you're using or which type or size of the dice is suitable for your tablet. And after deciding all these things, you start compression process. Because if you don't know which type of tablet you are formulating or which type of dyes and punches are required, you just compress your tablet. That in this condition, there the chances that your tablet may not be in proper form or good formulated form. It will degrade or show more effect or more side effect or maybe don't desire effect due to the less amount of drug present, or maybe they're not sufficient amount of hardness. So before finalizing the formulation, before starting compression method, you should assure about which type of dyes and pinches are suitable for your tablet formulation, and which type of formulation by excipient according to the formulation. Next is punches for compression. The granulation between the dyes means your granules or your ingredient should be between the dyes and punches. If it's between the dye and punches, then it may be easily compressed or tablet may be good quality. If it's not between dyes and punches, that may be show that your tablet it's not a good quality. It may be show certain problem or certain processing problem, and due to this problem, there may be chances that it easily get break or maybe certain processing problem is occur. And when processing problem is occur, in this condition, there may be chances your tablet get reject during evaluation or maybe when it come in a market. So before finalizing this compression process or the and during this compression process, you should assure that the complete process is in good manner. Should be pre-formulated, or you should finalize before starting formulation or finalizing the formulation. Next is cam track for guiding the movement of the punch. There will be cam track, or you should put the cam track. These cam track consider all movement of the punches or dial punches, that how tablet is injecting or formulating the particular tablet, and it should record hardness of the tablet also. And next is feeding mechanism for moving granulation from hopper into dye. Means how it feed or how it moves from hopper to dye or between hopper to dye, and how this granules come from hopper and between dye to punch, and how easily it can eject out of compressor. So before starting this compression process, you should assure that all these parameters, all these things, that these are according to requirement or according to formulation, and all the parameters are properly clean or properly finalized. So when you do this formulation in proper systemic way, there may be chances that your formulation should be good quality, and there may be rare chances or maybe less chances of error, or maybe the degradation changes. So this is compression step, and in this generally different machines are available for punching. First is single punch machine, and second is multi-stationary or rotated process. This single punch machine is maybe used from the starting when machine is maybe discovered, or they may be long years ago. And these machines, single punch machine, are very difficult to handle, as well as the production rate is also very less, because in a single time only one single tablet get punch, and it may be require too much time to formulate large amount or maybe fulfill the market requirement. And their applied force for the single punch machine is also required too much, and it is difficult to formulate large quantity continuously or in a single day. So we can say that different modification is done, and after this different modification, multi-stationary rotating process is come, and this is nowadays used in a large amount, and this is very effective and very speed machine. You can say that it formulates in a lakhs within 1 hour, and the quality of the tablet is also very high, and person force or knee force is also less, because it is automatic machine and no specific force is required. You just maybe set all the parameter, or maybe you can say that you evaluate all the parameter and finalize. And after finalizing this all the parameter, you start processing the tablet or compression of the tablet. And in multi-stationary tablet machine, that hold the upper punch and die and lower puncher in the place that rotate. Means in multi-stationary, you can say that your tablet machine hold upper punch or die or maybe lower punch of rotation place, and your tablet component or maybe all the ingredient are in suitable place within the die and punches, and the head rotate and punches are guided up down a fixed cam track, and which control the sequence of filling, compression, and injection. Means the rotation gets started of this compression of the tablet, And during compression, there may be rotation of the machine is takes place, and this during rotation or during the rotation, there may be chances that some problems occur. So you just control the cam track. With the help of this cam track, the tablet should be manufactured in a good quality, and when it get rotate, certain suitable design to form the tablet get formed. Before forming this tablet, then a filling or a filling process is done between the die and punches. If a suitable requirement amount of the granules or all ingredients are filled in die and punches or in a particular part of the die and punches, then after filling this, compression is done, or second step is compression, and after compression applying a particular force, ejection of the tablet is occur or tablet get ejected. Next is the portion of the head that's called the upper and lower punches are called as upper and lower turret. We also see this part in a diagram. In this there will be a portion, and this portion hold or head and upper and lower punches also have, and these lower and upper punches is known as upper and lower turret. It's a part of this machine, and this portion holding the die is called as die table. There will be one portion or one part which hold this die part of the tablet and help for compression, and this die part is known as die tablet or die table. Next is compression coated tablet. If after compression there is requirement of coating is also needed for certain tablets. In case of this coating, you should use specific polymer or specific coating material, and in this compression of the coating tablet is not necessary for all type of the tablet, but certain tablet which may be not suitable or showing certain degradability problem or easily get degrade are more difficult to use directly without coating. So in this condition, this coating is done, and not only degradation problem, if you require specific site action or maybe require at a specific site effect, in this condition you also use this coating process or maybe polymer coating. And then in this, you can say that if you require a formulate sustained release or control release type of the tablet, in this condition, you also coat your tablet. And for this coating, it is involved in compaction of granular material around a preformed tablet, or using a specially designed tablet or equipment, and compression coating is a dry process. This compression coating is mainly a dry process, or this is done during the compression process, and if specific material are used for this compression coating process, or certain equipment which are available in market that done both compression coating as well as residue part, inner coat and surrounding coat, and this is mainly divided by two parts. First one is internal core and second is surrounding core. And the core is very small porous tablet. And for preparing final tablet and bigger die, cavity in another turret is used, in which first coat material is filled to half and then coat tablet is mechanically transformed. The process. First, you can say that it is divided into two parts. First one is internal part, and second is surrounding core part. And according to this, there is a core is small porous tablet, and core part mainly is small porous tablet part or small portion of the tablet part. And before finalizing or before starting this compression coating process, you can say that bigger die cavity other turret is used. And when you use this another bigger cavity, there is a chance that it does help to form the cycling process, and first coating material is filled, means one by one coating layer is applied or filled to the tablet, and after filling this one coat material to half, and the coat is of the tablet is mechanically transferred, and again remaining space is filled. This coat material and final compression force is applied. Means continuously this process is done. First the single coat layer is applied, or then after this filling they may be mechanically or uniformly transferred to your complete tablet. Then after this again second coat is applied, and at particular point it may have a sufficient coat is done, and it's ready to finalize the compression or for final step of the compression. This is all about compression coated tablet, and in this you can say that mostly coat is a water soluble disintegrant easily and after swelling in order to achieve immediate release product. But you can also use the rapid action of the tablet as outer layer to provide the initial dose, while inner core release the drug on it. You can see this diagram, and in this diagram there is two parts. First is internal and second is outer. And internal is known as core and outer is known as core. And with the help of this core, the tablet gets released or disintegrates slowly through this core material or outer material. And due to this cross-sectional area, the tablet may release slowly and drug disintegrates slowly according to required amount. And you can see this part that is called is water soluble material. Means this outer part of this core material is mainly water soluble, or maybe it easily disintegrate when you take the tablet or solve that particular tablet. And due to this water soluble nature, it easily get disintegrate also fast or immediate release. And when you maybe change or modify this tablet with the help of certain coating or with the help of certain polymers, you can say that this tablet is do not get immediate release and it should control release or long time effect release. But you can also use a rapid action tablet. Means different action or rapid action is required. Suppose you are taking for long period of a time tablet, and we require that your tablets to affecting every 1 hour, and we require that in your tablet gives 100 mg per hour. So in this condition, the protection is required, and this outer layer or core layer you repeat multiple times, and you can see that the protection of this tablet or outer layer is that is core, and initial dose by inner core is this, and later on second internal dose is released. Means if require repeat action or multiple action in this condition, first outer core or outer layer of the tablet is released and it shows desired effect, and again that internal layer or core layer is released and a specific amount of drug released to this internal layer, and required amount of drug or complete drug gets released and show particular desired therapeutic effect. Next is the purpose of compression of the tablet. Why this compression process is important and why compress your tablet. In this traditionally various incompatible material, or one in core and another in the core. Means can say that this is incompatible process or maybe incompatible material. So before starting this process, you should know about what is the core material, what are the core materials, and how you select this core and core material. And there's an interface between the two layers, and this compromises product stability. And it is possible to apply in a placebo coating layer first, and to separate the core from final core more effectively. Example: manufacturing of artist toner, amycretin, and tablet formulation. Means before finalizing your formulation, you just test your tablet with placebo. Placebo, or maybe by taking certain sample which is similar to your formulation, and the coating is applying. And before this coating applying, you should assure that this placebo have a similarity between your formulation. And after this coating layer is applied, you separate the core from the final coat material. And after this, you can say this is one example. Manufacturing of artist Suresh and amycretin tablet are the example of this compression tablet, or this incompatible material using two layer coating or two layer formulation of your tablet. And maybe you should create modified release products such as delay release or release in intestine. And you can say also this type of tablet or coating of tablet also done in a specific purpose if you require drug in your intestine or maybe a particular part of your body. For intestine, use a specific type of the polymer which is suitable for your requirement or suitable for your body, and we will use in intestine only in alkaline pH. Next is compression cycle. In compression cycle, there's a different step how this compression takes place. According to this, there's first step values from hopper and this week that is A and containing several interconnected compartments. Means when you put your compound or your granules or your ingredient in hopper, and it passes to empty feed to feed frame A, and after interconnecting of this compartment or interconnected between this compartment, these compartments spread granulation over bind area to provide time or for the dye to be or to fill to the B, There is one diagram, you can see this, then we discuss. First is A, this part, when you fill your granules or your ingredient in a hopper, this A part is going to in a B part here, and after this filling, it goes to C part. Now we see this first theoretical part. In this, pull down the C part and guide the lower punches to bottom and allowing the down dies to overfill. Means when you fill your material in a hopper, part A, and it goes to part B, and these granules goes in part B, and after this it goes in part C. In this part mainly required amount of granules fulfilled between the die and punches, and maybe required amount of ingredient filled in the lower punch or bottom punch, and allow to overfill the dies. And in these punches, then pass over a weight control cam, that is E. After this, C, your drug or your material directly passes to the next C part, that is cam control or weight control part. In this, reduce the fill is desired amount, and a swipe of black, that is D part. At the end of feed frame, remove the excess granulation. Means you can say that after this E part, it goes in a D part. In D part, if your formulation is already too much amount of material, too much amount of granules, in this condition, it excess amount of the granules, excess amount of the compound, so it can easily get formed as required desired amount of the tablet. And in this D part, mainly removal of excessive material, excessive granules, and then after this, removing the diet around the torrent and back into the front feed frame. And that lower punches curl over a lower compression roll F. Means after this, your lower punches or after this step, it passes to C part. And in C part, by simultaneously the upper punch right and beneath the upper compression roll, G is above. In this, F is again goes to G part. Means first you fill in a hopper, then A point goes to B point, and after B point, it passes to C point. In this, to overfill, and then this C point, it goes in a E point, and where the excess amount of the material gets removed, and the weight control is done. And after this E part, it goes in a D part, and it is known as storing part of back front feed frame. And then after D, it's going in a F part, that is compression roll. The compression will be start or before starting the compression step. And next is this compression roll or upper compression roll, that is G part. After this, the lower punch enter into fixed distance into the die, and the lower punches which and compact the granulation within the die. Means after this is done, the upper punch enter on the fix between the die or into the die. And when it gets fixed into the die, then the chances that it dries or spills out, and due to this compression, it forms a tablet. And you can say that this tablet is compressed between the die and punches, and after this movement compression, the upward punch are withdrawn, and then follow the upward punch rising cam H. Then means your tablet goes in the H part, or when the upper punches get fill, or the tablet formation is occur in H part, and the lower punch right under the cam I. After this H part is goes in the I part, it brings out the tablet fresh with slightly above the surface of the die. When the tablet get out, or maybe brings out from this tablet machine, and then this tablet strikes full of the blade, affects to the front of the feed frame, and the slide down the chart, that is acceptable. And at the same time, the lower punches re-enter the pull down and cam C, and cycle is repeated. This is a continuous cycle where repetition is occur, or when one cycle get complete, another cycle get start continuously. So this repetition of the cycle, it forms large amount or large quantity of tablet in a single batch in very few minutes or few hours, and this is a continuous process. Means first you fill your tablet values in a hopper part, that is A part, and it goes in a B part. You can see this diagram. First is you fill your granules or your excipient in a hopper. Then after B part, it goes in a C part where complete filling or overfilling is done, and almost all granules are filled in the die and bunches. And after this C part, it goes in a E part, not D part, but it goes in an E part where weight adjustment is takes place. If there may be more weight, then in next step may be it remove excessive material, or if you have in this E part there may be less weight, then you can add more granules. So this E part mainly for weight adjustment, and after this there's a D part is takes place if more material is present in die and punches. So this excessive material gets removed and the tablet gets compressed. And after D, this goes in an F part. Means here, from here to here, F part, and after F part, it is ready for compression and it will compress. And before this compression, it goes to G part or H part. Then after G part, it goes to H part, where complete checking and processing is done. And after this, compression takes place, and that compression ejection of the tablet is occur. When tablet get eject, it again for the repeated cycle, and it's come in a part. And after this cycle is again repeating. It's a complete repeating cycle process. It's also second diagram of this compression process. In this, you can see that upper lowering cone or scattered tail of the die. This is upper and this is a lower part, and this is a die part, and this is a punches part. With the type of dies and punches, or when you fill material in a hopper, it feeds sufficient amount or required amount of the granules, and after this, with the help of this dies and punches, compression is occur. And you can see this is the die, and this is a feeder. The feeding of the granules or all excipients are fitted in the particular part, and this is a main compression load, or this is the upper lifting cam, because it is upper part in this die present. And next is main compression load. This is a below part, and ejection of the tablet, and weight control unit, where weight control is checked, or you assure that this is a sufficient amount of the weight, or if it's not a sufficient amount of the weight, then you can adjust the weight of the tablet or particular granules. Next is this principle of this compression. In this principle, modification from the earlier equipment has been increased in production rate, and which is regulated by the number of tooling set and the number of compression station, rotation speed of the press. This is a machine which is automatically from the tablet, or automated machine which is mainly used in industry. First is high speed rotatory machine, and second is multi-rotatory machine. And these are the certain specification of certain principle which is required for compression of the tablet. Number of tooling set means how tooling set you use, or how tooling set you for that particular compression of the tablet. Next is number of compression station, how compression station use, or how number of compression station use, and rotational speed of the press. And this is all our principle of the compression machine. And next topic is compression problem, or not compression but processing problem. After compression or after finalizing the tablet, there may chances that your tablet shows certain effect of processing problem. And if you don't observe these problems or don't overcome these problems, it may be formed or convert into serious problem. And then there are chances that it affect the tablet or easily degrade, or easily break, or maybe chances that when it come in a market, patient get reject due to the certain problem, or not a good desired formation of the tablet. So we discuss this now processing problem. And processing problem, first processing problem is capping. Capping is a partial or complete separation of the top and bottom down of the tablet from the main body of the tablet. Means in capping, you can say that complete removal of upper part, upper bottom of the tablet from your main body part, or from down part of your tablet. And this capping is mainly occurred due to dies and punches problem, or maybe your granulation problem. But in this, your tablet is not in a uniform form. Your upper layer of the tablet get removed, or maybe bottom layer get removed, and it show uneven or different layer of the tablet. Next is lamination. Lamination is separation of the tablet into two or more distinct layer. and both of these problems usually result from air entrapment during processing. Means lamination is the second problem. In this, there will be chances of two or more, not only two, but there will be chances more than two district layer is separate out, or more than two layer get separate out, and both of these problems are usually result from air entrapment or during processing. Means you can say that if these layers are separate, or if they get separated into two or more than two layers, and this problem is mainly occur when your tablet have an air entrapment or air entrapment of your processing is occur. Next is picking, and picking is removal of the tablet surface material from a punch. Means your tablet remove surface of the tablet, or removing a particular material from punch of your tablet. Next is sticking. And sticking is the addition of the material to the die wall. Means certain material get adhere or maybe stick between the die wall, and due to this problem, excessive moisture substance with low melting temperature in the formulation. And capping, these are the problems. Other than the main problem is up in your tablet. These are the major processing problems. Capping is a partial or complete removal of top or bottom part of the tablet. Next is lamination. Lamination is separation of the tablet into two or more distinct layers. Tablet get converted into two or more than two layer, with 3-4 layer, and this is mainly due to air entrapment, or but tablet contains certain air. And next problem is picking. In picking is a very simple problem. In this tablet surface or removal of the tablet surface by the punch or by the during the processing problem with the help of punch, or due to certain problem the surface of the tablet gets removed. Next is sticking. Sticking is the addition of a material to the die wall. When some material get adhere or stick to the die or part of this tablet machine, these two problems results excessive moisture substance with low melting temperature in the formulation. If your granules contain low moisture or excessive moisture, or maybe certain temperature problem is occur, in this condition the sticking problem is observed. And after this problem, you can say next problem. This next problem, the mottling problem. Mottling is mainly unequal color distribution on tablet with light and dark area, and standing on the otherwise uniform surface, and this is from use of a drug with color different that of the tablet excipients, or from the dark red color degradation of the product. This molding problem is not for all the type of the tablet, but if you are preparing a coloring tablet, or the tablet should be contain different color, in this condition there may be chances that the tablet show this molding problem, and this molding problem will prevent your tablets uneven color distribution or patches of the color. So it's not looks good, and there are chances that in the market it get rejected by the patient due to the uneven distribution of the color. Next is weight variation. And weight variation itself indicate that in this may be problem occur between the weight, or due to the different variation between the batches weight of particular tablet. Some tablet may show more weight, or some tablet may show large weight according to the requirement. So in this mainly this problem is occurred due to granules, or due to not good quality of the granules. In weight variation, you can see the granule size distribution, poor flow, and punch variation. If you don't use proper punch, or maybe you change the punch due to this variation in the punch, or granule size is not good or not properly distributed, in this condition, you can say that this weight variation problem is occur. Next is hardness variation. In this hardness, the tablet get easily disintegrate, or the chances that during transportation it get disintegrate, or don't have sufficient strength that is required for particular formulation. So this is mainly due to the compression force, and your tablet don't have sufficient hardness or sufficient strength. Next is double impression. In double impression, you can say that monogram or enclaving on the punch. And this is not for all type of a tablet. Suppose you're formulating a specific type of the tablet, or you make to form a unique tablet. In this condition, we engrave, or maybe put certain symbol. Engraving means you make certain symbol or put certain alphabet in a tablet for making unique tablet tablet compared to any other tablet. And when you engrave a tablet, the channel it form double impression, means maybe overlapping of that particular symbol or particular alphabet, and this is known as double impression. These problems mainly occur into this engraving or making certain graph on the punch. Next, in this causes ambiguity of capping related to the formulation or maybe during the granulation. Means not only processing problem is occur for this tablet, but during granulation or maybe after granulation problem is occur in tablet. In this first you can say that the causes, and second part there may be remedies. The number first cause of this tablet with remedies that large amount of fine in the granulation, means a large amount of fine particles are present in the granulation, or your granules are not in uniform form, or giving chance large variation is occur. In this, you can say that remedies remove some or all fine through 100 to 200 match screen. Means you ask your granules in a required specific size of the seal, or you convert into uniform size, that is 100 to 200 max size is sufficient to converting uniform granules. And next is to dry or very low moisture content and lending to loss of the proper binding of the action. Means moisture content of your granules should be sufficient. If it's too less or don't have sufficient moisture, in this condition, there is a chance that it get easily break or don't have sufficient moisture in the tablet. If you apply too much force, then in this condition, you will chance it form very hard tablet. And in this remedy, you can say that moisture of the granules should be shifted and add hygroscopic substance like sorbitol, methyl cellulose, or PG4000 for this remedy and for removing this problem. Next is not thoroughly dried granules. In this, you properly dry the granules or remove the excessive moisture of your granules. Next is insufficient amount of the binder or improper binder. If you don't use sufficient amount of the binder or improper binder you use, in this condition, there may be chances that increase amount of the binder, or use more binder or add certain other binder which are good for formulation, or pre-gelatinized starch, acacia powder like sorbitol, PVP, hydrophilic silica powder should be mainly used. Next, fifth one is insufficient or improper lubricant. If you don't use sufficient amount of a lubricant or use improper lubricant, in this condition, it is increase the amount of lubricant or change the type of the lubricant if you overcome this problem. Next, sixth is granular mass to cold compressed film. In this compression at room temperature, means there may be chances that cold condition or temperature is not proper. In this condition, you will compress your tablet at room temperature to adjust the temperature of particular compression process. Next is in this causes and problem mainly due to machine. Machine is also responsible to showing certain type of the problem. In this may be due to dies and punches or maybe press. This first is poorly finished die. We don't use proper die or tablet. The dies are not properly set. In this condition, you use somebody like polish die properly and investigate other steel or other material. And second is deep concave punches or belayed edge faces of the punches. In this condition, we use deep concave punches or belayed edge faces of the punches. And third is lower punch drilling below the face of die during injection. If you don't set that particular die and punches, and you just set positively, and due to this improper setting of the die punch, there may be chances that ejection is also vary, and ejection of the tablet is not proper way. And to overcome this problem, the remedy, make proper setting of a lower punch during injection. And fourth is incorrect adjustment of a strip of blend. And in this, adjust strip of blend correctly to facilitate proper ejection. Next is high torrent speed. In high torrent speed, you can overcome this problem. You should maintain the speed or set the proper speed. In this, reduce the speed of the torrent and increase level time. Next is the problem in this may be due to lamination in the machine. Maybe same problem, die punches and press. And this first is rapid election of peripheral region of the tablet on ejection from the dye. And in this remedy, use rapid dyes, the upper part of the dye or both of up to 3 to 5 degrees Celsius, means you change the. Next is rapid decomposition use and pre-compression step. Means decomposition takes place fast, or rapid decomposition is take place during this compression process. And for this remedy part, you can use the tolerant speed and reduce the final compression procedure. Next is remedy during the granulation, means during formation of granules, then the chances certain problems occur. And this first is sticking on the punch faces. The tablet will form properly and stick on the punch face or on the punches. And you overcome this problem with the help of dry granules properly increase the lubricant. You can dry your granules and assure that, or you should check that all moisture is completely removed through these granules, and you use certain lubricant to overcome this sticking problem, because lubricant helps to reduce the friction between dyes and punches, and also improve the flow property or enhance the flow property. And second is this, that is too dry granules. If your granules are in a too dry form or don't have sufficient moisture, and there is certain moisture is required for this compression of the granules or formation of the tablet, but it's in too dry form, then in this condition you moisten the granules or use the certain plasticizer to remove this problem or overcome this problem. And in this you use mainly hygroscopic substance which have moisture or hygroscopic in nature. Next is too much cause of chipping problem water. In this, optimize binding and use dry binders. You use certain alternative binder or change the binder. Use those type of binder which are dry in nature. Next is problem with dye and punches, same again. First problem is to group the dye one at compression point, and for this problem, this remedy is polish to open the end, or you completely polish that open end and reverse replace the die. Second is barrel die in the center of the die within that end, and polish the die to make the cylindrical. And the third is engage of the patch plate inside and inward. In this condition, you also polish the punch, and you can properly improve the edges of the punch. Next, fourth is concavity deep compress probability. If you are using certain concave processing for a tablet or concave, in this maybe chances that this show certain problem, or maybe don't form the flat punch of the proper tablet. In this second or next problem is related to vacuum related formulation problem, or maybe during granulation, or maybe after granulation during formulation. This first is large size of granules. If the granules have a large size or some more size, then in this condition absorption dissolution is also changed, and this drug reduces show sufficient effect. So on this problem, you should reduce the size, or you can identify fine particles or uniform particles. Next is too dry granules. If your granules are in too dry form, in this condition, you moisten the granules properly, and proper amount of binder use for this overcome this problem. And next is tablet expand. In this, you don't improve too much parameter, but you just improve granules or use certain dry binder for this granulation procedure. Next is granulation is cold, or maybe not a sufficient amount of cold. It's in large quantity cold. This condition you compress your tablet at the room temperature, or compression is taken at room temperature. Do not require any cold condition or don't require any AC. Next, cause and remedy them dye punches problem. In this first is tablet expand injection due to air entrapment. If air entrapment is observed or seen, in this condition, you or properly set that the dye in proper way. Next is deep concavity cause cracking while removing tablet use the shell take off. Next, cause remedy and sticking related to the formulation or during the granulation. This first is granules not dried properly. This dried the granules in a proper way and merge to analyze the limits. Second problem is to limit improve lubrication. In this condition, increase or change the lubricant. Let's use alternate lubricant, or you can also change the lubricant according to a formulation, or just overcome this problem. Next is too much binder. If you use too much binder, there's also a problem. It do not formulate good quality of the tablet, and to overcome this type of problem, you reduce the amount of binder and use sufficient less amount of binder or different type of binder. Next is hygroscopic or granular material, means granules are hygroscopic material containing granules. In this condition, you modify this problem with the help of granulating modification or granulation modification or compress under controlled humidity. Means too much humidity is not in the formulation or required amount of humidity is required. Next is oily or whey material. In this, modify mixing process or add absorbent. And sixth is too soft or weak granules. This is mainly if you don't use proper excipient or proper binder, or maybe granulation technique is not good. In this condition, you optimize the amount of binder and granulation technique. Next, in this dye and punches on literal sticking problem. In this concavity to deep the granulation and reduce the concavity to optimum. Second is too little pressure. In this condition, you increase the pressure. Next is compression too fast. In this, you reduce the speed. And next, cause and remedies related to quickly related formulation or during the granulation. This first problem is excessive moisture in the granules. If there's more excessive moisture in the granules, then you prepare dry granules in a proper form and determine the optimum liquid. And the next is too little improper lubricant. In this condition, you increase the lubricant and you use colloidal silica as polishing agent so that material does not cling the punch and the faces. Third is low melting point. Substance may suffer from a heat or compression that picking. And in this condition, you work by high melting point material, use high melting point and lubricant. And for this low melting point medicament in high concentration, in this condition, you can refrigerate the granules and entire press. And fifth is too warm granules and processing. You just change the temperature or compress at room temperature to cool sufficiently before it gets compressed. And too much amount of binder, if you use too much of a binder or large amount of a binder, in this condition, you can reduce the binder or change that particular binder to overcome this problem. And next is picking related problem for machine and dies. In this first is rough and stress punches, and this remedy polish face flusher. And second is embassing or engraving letter punch faces such as B, A, O, R, P, and G. This design letter or large as possible plate punch faces like chromium to produce smooth and non-adherent face. Third is bevels on diving lines to deep, reduce the depth and sharpens. For this, pressure applied is not enough. Too soft tablet. In this, increase the pressure to optimum. And this next is for related binding to the formulation of granulation. First is too much granules to exceed the around lower punch, and limited dry granules are properly. Second is insufficient and improper lubricant. This increase the amount of lubricant and improve the effective lubricant. And third is to coarse granules, and this reduce the granule size or add more fine or increase the quality of a lubricant. And fourth is too hard granules for the lubricant to be effective. In this condition, you modify the granulation or reduce the granular size. Fifth is granular material very aggressive in cutting into dye. If coarse granules reduce size or use wear resistance dyes. And the sixth one is granular material too long. You will stick to the dye. In this, you just change the temperature, reduce the temperature. Next is maybe problem during machine or dye and punches. And this first is poorly finished dye. In this, polish dye properly, and rough dye may be abrasion or corrosion. In this, to overcome this abrasion and corrosion property, you just investigate another listed material and modify the granulation technique. And third is undersized dye. In this, too little clearance, and we work proper size of the increased clearance. Fourth is too much pressure in the tablet press. In this, you reduce the pressure or modify the granulation technique to overcome this problem. And next problem is maybe related to mottling. Mottling for not all type of tablet, for certain tablet show this problem. This first is colored drug that have colorless or white color excipient. In this, you use certain appropriate coloring which are not show this type of the problem. Next is dye migrate to surface of mineralization while dyeing. In this, change the solvent system and change the binder and reduce dyeing temperature using smaller particle size. And third is improper mixed dye, especially during direct compression. This mix properly and reduce the size. If it is a larger size, to prevent the sagnification. Next is improper mixing of a color and binder. In this, encapsulate dry color additive during powder and blend up, and then add fine powder adhesives such as acacia and rubberman and mix well in the granulating to the liquid. This is all about problem or different problem occur during the granulation, and you should know about this outcome means why this problem is occur and how to overcome this problem in a brief. And next is processing method or how this processing of tablet compression of the tablet is takes place. These are the reference. In first reference, pharmaceutical pre-formulation, the physical pharmaceutical property of a drug substance by James I. Wells, Alice Harvard Limited, publisher Chester, and some pharmaceutical dosage form drug delivery system, 8th edition by Lloyd V. Allen, Nicholas G. Popovich, Harvard C. Ansel, published by V. Publication PVD Limited. Third is pharmaceutical pre-formulation by J.T. Carterson, published by Technological Publishing Co. And fourth is textbook of physical pharmaceutics by Suresh, published by Prakash. This is all are the good book. Other than this, some books are like The Theory and Practice of Industrial Pharmacy by Leon and Lampton, Harris, Lieberman, Joseph. L. King, third edition, published by Banks Publishing House. And sixth reference, Martin, Physical Pharmacy, Pharmaceutical Science, fifth edition by Patrick J. Sindhu, published by Lippert William Jenkins. And seventh reference is pharmaceutical dosage from tablet volume 1, edited by Habit Limmerman and Leon Lehman, published by Marshall Level, or are the good reference of any assignment or formulation. After this reference part, we covered all some questions to from this complete topic or solve easily this topic. First is an open extender. This type of powder used in coating solution formulation is fine inorganic powder. B is fine organic powder. C is both fine inorganic and organic powder. D is depend on formulator. Second question, capping of the tablet can be determined by A, pre-formulation, B, reducing the final compression rate, C is using flat punches, and D is all of the above. So third question, next question, among the given lubricants is not used in oral tablet. A is talc, B is magnesium stearate, C is boric acid, and D is stearic acid. And in fourth question, the disintegrant time of effervescent tablet is A option is minimum 2 minutes, and 2.5 minutes, then 3 minutes, and D option is 5 minutes. In fifth question, the disintegrant time of the sugar coated tablet is A is 25 minutes, B is 35 minutes, and C is 60 minutes, and D is 45 minutes. And sixth question, aspartate is an artificial sweetener as a main advantage, and in this option, A part is carcinogenic, B is metallic aftertaste, C is bitter aftertaste, and D is hygroscopic in nature. In the next seventh question, Gauss index determine particle size, B is powder flow, C is thickness of the tablet, and D is all mean shape. And next eighth question is which of the following is related to slagging, and in this option A is direct compression, B is heat sensitive drug, C is moisture sensitive drug, D is all mean shape. In ninth question, a tablet to treat addict must dissolve in water before swelling. Is one of the following is best described type of the tablet. A is modified, B is oral disintegrating, C is effervescence, and D is a buccal tablet. And 10th question, which form of the drug has the highest probability? In A option is coated tablet, B is solution, and C option is tablet, and D is emulsion. So you should know all these answers after covering this topic, or we almost really complete the tablet are covered. So thank you so much for watching and listening this video. Thank you so much.